Reminder, if your weekly wrestling program lasts longer than 4 hours, please consult with your doctor immediately, if not sooner. I'm John Recton with my review of AEW Dynamite and AEW Collison Fyter Fest 2025 from the Mission Ballroom in Denver, Colorado. The city that's a mile high and somebody else's high when they decided to book the show. More on that in a bit. But yes, they were slap dab sold out. 2,500 people that honestly brought a lot more energy than, well, a mid-size arena crowd would have brought. And honestly, I like the more intimate atmosphere. It was cool. I don't necessarily know about having pyro in a small venue like this, but it was a cool atmosphere. I like these, venues that they've been running lately. So, yeah, 4 hours of weekly wrestling programming for this week and next week. And next week, they're in Portland, Oregon. I'm 4 hours away from Portland, Oregon. I will be goddamned if I'm going to go down to Portland, Oregon to watch it. But that being said, I hope anybody that goes there has a great time. Also, they are going to be running Grand Slam Mexico on June 18th. And then they're going to be coming up to my neck of the woods. Well, kinda, sorta. Kent, Washington. For those that are Washingtonians, you will know why I'm not going to go to that show. And if you're not sure why, if you're outside of the Washington state environs, let's just say Kent's not exactly a great city. And also, there's a reason I'm not going to go to the Collision taping on the 21st. There's stuff going on in town that actually makes traffic absolutely abysmal. And also, I just don't want to. I will say this much, though. They are hyping up All In as much as they possibly can. But yeah, 4 hours and 6 minutes of programming. And the best they could do for the women was a couple matches and one segment. Seriously, cut down a few of these matches. Go Nitro style. Have some matches that go 7 minutes. And have some, just have some sprinkled packages and you can make this whole thing work. They got enough wrestlers under contract. That being said, Excalibur, Taz, and Ian Riccaboni on commentary for the Dynamite portion. And people are arriving in the building. Gee, I wonder where they got that idea from. Tony talks about climbing a mountain and climbing something else. I don't necessarily know what, but Tony seems to say that she will be having her tits in until they're out for, I don't know, but Tony's having fun. Speaking of Tony Schiavone's in the ring, brings out Will Ospreay, who is in his own bruv jersey. And well, apparently him and Swerve got into it after Dynamite went off the air. I guess whatever, it is what it is. He's like, if Swerve and Hangman could put their differences aside for one night, could take back the title, and then they can kill each other. I'm boiling a lot of this down because I understand what they're trying to do. They're really trying to hammer home that, Hangman needs everybody, even though he says later he doesn't need Swerve. He's going to need everybody to help him. All guns blazing and everything in Texas. And I still don't think Hangman is going to win that. And I think it is going to deflate the crowd. I don't see it because they're trying to build this up a bit too much. But he did tell Moxley, the only reason that AEW sucks is because you're the world champion. Now, many could argue that there is any reason why any company has issues. The world champion is a big part of it. But yeah, it is what it is. I mean, to be honest, Moxley has had the worst run of any champion that they've had. That's including Chris Jericho's Ring of Honor champion. So, and I'll let you decide which reign I'm referring to. So maybe Swerve is the enemy, and maybe he's going to have to take out Swerve. Whose house? Well, I'm going to keep it a buck or be real here. Unless we take the title back from Moxley, he's not going to have a house or something to that effect. Swerve, I would take a bullet for you, but I will take a bullet for AEW first, and I will face you next week. It will be Swerve versus Ospreay 2, Electric Boogaloo. And then suddenly, 2 children show up. I'm sorry, it's Action Andretti and Lio Rush. Lio had a mic in his hand. I immediately said, that's it. The power of speech is given out too freely. Why is Lio Rush still allowed to cut promos on a mainstream wrestling program? This guy that nearly caused me to never want to ever see or even imagine the mere thought of Lashley existing. He wanted to ruin Lashley for me. And by he, I mean the dirty pervert that used to run WWE. But Lio Rush is an annoying little gnat, and not even in a good way. He's the size of a fucking flea. He sounds and looks and acts like a goddamn child, and he needs to be on the opposite side of the damn barricade, along with, Action Andretti. This ain't gonna fucking work. But Lio Rush has had plenty of opportunities, and sure, he seems to be sticking around here a little bit longer, but for what? For what reason? Anyway, God, we're going to have a match later between Lio and Ospreay, and I said, if Ospreay does not beat him in a minute, it is a joke. Briscoe had comments last week about how he didn't quit, but his sons are doubting him, so he wants to face Moxley. Not for the title, but for pride. But unfortunately, there is no pride and no hope to be found when Moxley and the Death Riders are here. Wheeler Yuta needs to just honestly be sat down and say, you need to find something else to fucking do, you mop-top idiot. He cannot fucking do this. He is not good enough for this spot. He will never be good enough for this spot, and they need to stop that. You need a stooge. Here's the thing. You need better people in your group. Claudio looks like he's sleepwalking through the damn thing. And speaking of sleepwalking, Moxley basically sleepwalked through this goddamn match. Briscoe bled at one point. It's Moxley versus Mark Briscoe, by the way. There was a Jay Driller. Moxley no-selling. It is absolutely just brutal. It's either that he can't sell or he doesn't want to sell. I'm going with the latter. So, yeah, Jay Driller for 2. But that should be used as an ultimate finish because the move looks great. And a stomp and then a choke wins it. And my God, geez, that was deflating. Not that I expected Mark Briscoe to win. I don't expect Mark Briscoe to win any match now. Any match that matters. They had torpedoed him completely. And then we get a Mystico package. Oh boy, oh joy, oh bliss. I saw Mystico at a WWE pay-per-view years ago. Assuming that is still Sin Cara. So, Mercedes is on commentary. I instantly wrote, oh, for fucking goddamn sake, if they have this stupid little egotistical dumb twat talk, I might actually just say, that's it. Denver doesn't deserve to actually, if Denver's going to cheer her, Denver doesn't deserve to have any championships. Fortunately, Mercedes had a meat spread in front of her. The jokes write themselves, folks. And Tony got a big pop. Tony Storm, that is. And Mina Shirakawa got a good pop. She can dance very good. So it's Tony and Mina Shirakawa against the Sky Hearts, as I'm going to call them. Sky Blue and Julia Hart. And look, I'll say this much. These ladies gave the best effort that they could. Sky's coming back from an injury, still trying to get reps. Julia has improved, but she's come back from an injury, and also I know she got married at some point. There was a sign that said "More Gay Wrestling." I can appreciate who that person, what that person said. That was cool. That was nice. So basically, we just have some action that's all right. I mean, Sky and Hart are not ring generals, but they work fine together. Mercedes takes selfies. See, I would have less of a problem with Mercedes if she wasn't such an egotistical douchebag, and also if this text scam thing wasn't actually going to come to fruition. Hopefully, maybe there's enough backlash she decides not to do this, because $99 a month to text likely an AI program that's pertaining to be Mercedes, how could you tell the difference because they talk the same? That's bullshit. And that is something right there where it's like, no, you need to fucking reel your little ego back, honey. You need to maybe take your goddamn weave off and put your goddamn thinking cap on, or your ball cap, whatever the hell it is, and you need to actually realize that some people don't have endless amounts of money, like the money you've gotten paid by Khan for producing very little besides in the ring. Every time Mercedes talks, I'm thinking, that's it. I don't give any of the women promo time if they're going to give one of their biggest stars a chance to just shit the bed every time. Fortunately, she just kept drinking and whatever, and I felt like drinking every time they showed her on camera. And I'm sorry, I know it sounds like I'm down on Mercedes, and I am, but I do appreciate what she does in the ring. I just don't want to hear her talk. And that may be seen as offensive. I don't really give a shit, because there are plenty of women that can cut good promos that actually sound like they have a soul and they actually care. So, the ladies kept doing stuff. Dueling corner bumps. The attempt at the kiss between Mina and Tony got stopped. And then eventually the chicken wing won it. And then, Mercedes gets run off, and then Tony decides to take a bite of the steak and declares the flavor timeless. There, that's all I got out of that. Lexi is with Osprey. Here's MJF, and he basically says, stop trying to get Swerve and Hangman to get along. Oh, and by the way, don't get near my world title, because you can't beat Hangman, and MJF says that he will win it back. And then MJF says, but you can't beat Hangman on your best day. And then, of course, MJF goes for the low-hanging fruit and mentions Will's son, Harry, I think was his name. And the Hurt Syndicate show up, and we might get Will versus Lashley. That could be interesting. Once they both don't talk. So the Hurt Syndicate comes out to a pop. We get Bobby Chance, because he's from Colorado Springs, Colorado. Colorado Springs, Colorado. Easy for me to say it. Shelton. He gets Chance, and then MJF gets some boos. We get a thumbs down for Denver, because Bobby lives in Texas now. MVP asked for tag team competition. MJF wants gold. Mentions Arena Mexico on the 18th. That Mystico is the best in CMLL. Not AAA, because AAA got absorbed by WWE. And he plugs Happy Gilmore 2. And that's going to come out on June 25th. I actually still need to rewatch the first Happy Gilmore, because it's been a while. I don't know why we need to do a sequel nearly 30 years later, but I digress. So MVP won a competition. Unfortunately, Speedball, Kevin Knight, and Commander show up because they have a trios match next, and Commander says stuff in Spanish. I mean, he says a little bit in English. I didn't necessarily understand. I knew he swore at the end. I know that much because I got a couple friends that are Spanish. And then Speedball talked and called them a collection of international killers. Speedball speaks up and stands up for LGBTQ rights, so I will not knock him as a person, but please never have him cut promos. Never again. Ever. So, Kevin Knight cuts the best promo out of anybody, and then we just get a brief fracas and a brief brawl after the following match, which is Knight, Speedball, and Commander against the Meat Mortos, Roosh, and Dralistico. For those that are upset still that Stephanie Vacour Vacour, however you say it, didn't sign with AEW, you can look at Roosh. You can look at this moron, this dipshit, this fucking idiot that thinks that siding with an abuser is actually a good idea. So that being said, they pinned Mortos. You know I'm kind of not, you notice I'm not really giving a lot of analysis to this. I like Knight, and Speedball can hit some high kicks and whatever, and Commander does what he does. He hit a cool running the ropes dive to the, over the top to the outside. But they pinned Mortos. You can't pin Dralistico? You can't maybe fire Roosh? I mean, you're not going to get Stephanie back, but whatever. MVP then basically says, hey, how about the three of you take on the three of us? And then we get a brief brawl. So did I skip over some stuff? Sure, it was a match for what it was. They might as well have just had the referees not exist and just had everybody count their own pins like the New York Knockout, the New York Rules Thunder, whatever it was. I mean, like early May of 2000. Good Lord. Suddenly, Alicia, I'm going to call her Alicia a tout because I'm sorry, if I call her what her actual last name is, I won't be able to take her seriously. Come on. Just say it out, please. Just please. Anyway, the paragon of Cole, O'Reilly, and Strong, what's left of them, are talking to Garcia, what's left of him, and they're going to take on the Don Callis family on Collision. Oh joy, oh bliss, this is still going on. So, Nick Wayne, Christian, and Shayna Wayne are backstage, and Nick, after doing pretty well in the BOSJ, I saw a couple of the matches, super happy for him. Love Nick Wayne. What a talent. He's improving. It's going to take time, but he's improving. The idea now is, instead of having a tune-up match for the BOSJ, now that he's back, he's going to take on three other guys. Oh boy, a four-way. Fortunately, we only have one four-way coming up in the main event of this, which means we're just going overboard again. So, they cheered for Max Caster, so I hope the Nuggets and Broncos just get dissolved and they don't have any sports franchises because you fuckers don't deserve them. Caster then got beat by powerhouse Willie Hobbs in a 5-minute challenge. It took 47 seconds. Hobbs showed up in street clothes and beat the shit out of Caster. To be perfectly honest, this is the best use of Caster. So, the entrances for the main event. We have... who the fuck came in first? We have Brody King come in. Claudio came in. Mascara, Dorada. And then big old Final Fantasy entrance for the International Champion, Kenny Omega! That's the best you're going to get at about 1 a.m. in the goddamn morning. Forgive me. Flippy shit for Dorada and Kenny. Clubbing shit between Brody and Claudio. This is the best match on the show. That's not saying much, but it was the best match on the show. I mean, the women's tag was alright. Brody is way over. Brody got busted open. We kept getting counters back and forth. I don't know why they had a referee. Rick Knox is the ref, so I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know why they had a referee. That fucking corpse. That fucking goddamn waste of human skin. If he wasn't 200 years old, I'd say his parents would be ashamed of him. But anyway, just, we get some good stuff. Dorada showed off. We got good action here. It's just some of it started to blend together because unfortunately I've seen so many fatal four-ways and multiple person matches and all that. We got a Poison Rana at one point. I don't know why they keep doing that. And we did get a nice finish where Dorada got caught and then he got hit with the One Wing Angel. 1, 2, 3. Big pop. And then we go on to Collision. Where, really we go right... now they broke it up with Dynamite at 2 hours and 6 minutes. And Collision in the 2-hour block. That's if you're watching on Max, which I do because I'm not plugging my DVR with a whole bunch of stuff. So, as Omega celebrates, we then get to Okada showing up in an oversized suit. Please get suits that fit better, you once great wrestler. And they briefly brawl. The crowd very much came alive for this, and okay. I'm going to say right now that Tony Khan announced it's going to be Omega and Okada later on the show at All In. Winner takes all. Everybody better temper their goddamn expectations. You better have them on the goddamn ground. I'm going to say why. Okay. Wrestle Kingdom 11 was very good. Very good. I believe they faced off against at Dominion 2017. If I recall correctly, I know Omega beat Okada to become the first U.S. champion in the title tournament. There was sometime in July or early August. I'm trying to remember because, a little fuzzy and also it's a little late. And then they had that tremendous one-of-a-kind goddamn match, 2 out of 3 falls match, 65 to 67 minutes at Dominion 2018. One of the best matches I saw of all last, decade. One of the best matches I've seen in the last 25 years. Really, really good shit. The thing is, guys, is there's no way it's going to even come close to a quarter of that. I'm not saying Okada won't put effort in. I'm not saying Omega won't put effort in. Omega's has injuries. They piled up. Okada just doesn't really give a shit anymore. So temper your expectations and get ready for the spectacle. Then the bell's going to ring. I'm not saying there won't be flashes. I'm not saying there won't be moments that are good. There's no way it's going to come even close to the worst of the 4 matches that they had. That's all I'm going to say. Ricochet has his eyes on talents. He needs to have his eyes on some Rogaine. So Shivani, and I know, who am I to talk about, somebody's hair. Ricochet also needs to find a personality. Shivani and Nigel are on commentary. Ospreay took on Lio Rush, and this match went 10 minutes. 15 minutes with the entrances. You know what it should have been? Bell rings. Lio tries taunting, tries, say, a flip kick. Will Ospreay hits him with a hidden blade, and in 1 minute of 90 seconds, pins him. Foot on the chest and pins him. Because that's what that stupid little gnat-sized child deserves. He doesn't deserve to win anything in this company. He doesn't fucking deserve that. I'm sorry. That man has stuck his foot in his mouth more often than not. And I don't care if he can do all the flips and do all the stuff and everything. I hate to be sizes, but there's got to be levels of this shit. Anyway, it took Ospreay 10 minutes, so he can't get He wants to get Hangman and Swerve to work together, and he wants to try and take down the Death Riders. And it took him 10 minutes to take down a fucking child. Who has children? God forbid Leo was allowed to breed. How dare you, whatever entity runs this world, how dare you allow that? Well, I guess he wanted children, so he had somebody to look up to. And then Action Andretti attacks. Hangman shows up with his perm. And then suddenly, oh, Jesus Christ. And then he says, I am my own man. I will not, ask for or accept, help from Swerve, which is going to be his downfall. Then Moxley suddenly shows up, along with it. Marina Shafir, sit down. Just sit down and fucking raise your kids. How dare you call yourself a wrestler? At least on a main stage. And Wheeler Yuta, once again, God, you just freaking blank-ass expressionless idiot. His parents need to be fucking charged with capital crimes for saying that he could be a professional wrestler. Assuming he wasn't like a, I don't know, fucking test tube baby. But then again, that would prove the medical science has gone backwards. So is Kyle okay in the head, by the way? Ospreay backed up Hangman there. So yeah, is Kyle okay in the head? Probably not, but whatever. Callis then basically says, hey, I want to destroy you, Bandito. And Hechicero Chiapet shows up. Why is Viano 6 here? That's what I call him. He's Viano 6. Deep cut for wrestling fans, by the way. FTR and a child in a tracksuit. See, I know Stokely could get a tracksuit in a child's size, but I guess it makes sense. They took on Lance Jr. and Templario, which I thought was Hamtaro for some reason. Look, Atlantis Jr., I mean, I've seen him do some, I actually think I saw him against Brian Cage on the pre-show of WrestleDream 2024, where he was a TV champion and he lost to Brian Cage. Brian Cage was a TV champion in 2024. But anyway, they made me not care about FTR. I'm sorry. I mean, they made me not care. They've just made me, I don't care. I don't care. They did some stuff that it took twice as long to beat these guys as it should have. I know they're building up to the Arena Mexico, and that's fine. And they're trying with video packages, and I get it. And there are people in the know that are in the huge wrestling bubble, or maybe not the huge wrestling bubble, but inside the wrestling bubble that know who these guys are. I've seen Lance Jr. a few times. I have no idea who Templario is. It was a match. They eventually won. FTR did. Stokely then says everyone falls to FTR while he falls if he ever tries to get something off the second shelf. And FTR tries to talk, and no, you had your chance to hear me talk, and I get it. I don't mind them being heels, but I don't care. Give them competition, give them teams to work with, or whatever. Takeshita, Hechicero, and Fletcher took on Bandito and the Outrunners, or en masse the Los Outrunners. Outrunners are making the most of their gimmick. Making the most of their TV time. Bandito's the Ring of Honor Ring of Honor World Champion, which I forgot about. Callis is on commentary. Everyone get in here. Why have a ref? Everyone just does stuff. The Outrunners try to do their, you son of a bitch line and pose, but then they get stopped. And the Brainbuster and Raging Fire get hit on both Outrunners, and there you go. Bandito did some cool stuff. It was a typical match. That's the thing, it's a typical Collision. This is why I don't review Collision. The only reason I'm reviewing this is because, and I'm going to do it next week, is because we have, the Summer Blockbuster 4-hour tour, a 4-hour tour. I might review the one that's in Kent on the 21st. Which I can tell you right now, that place holds around 6,000, 6,500 if you jam them in, and they are set up for about 2,700, and last time I checked about 4 days ago, they were just at about 1,000 tickets. And I don't think Dynamite and Collision on the 25th is selling much better because they're doing a buy one, get one 50% off on select tickets. I'm tempted to talk to my friend and see if she wants to go, but she didn't want to go before, so maybe I just won't bother. Because we probably could get him for a cheap price. Except we'd have to go to Kent. Give Takeshita something better to do is what I know. Nothing against teaming up with Fletcher. Nothing even against Hechicero. Piano 6. So anyway, Megan Bayne and Penelope. Well, Megan Bayne has Anna Jay. Well, Penelope stands there confused because she has not gotten any better in like 7 years. And Anna Jay is getting beat up. Harley's off TV because she actually got injured in the pre-show match, which is why they did the injury angle to write her off on, last week's Dynamite. And suddenly music hits and Ty Mello Conte shows up. Oh boy, I had missed this goddamn untalented broad. I had to be reminded by a friend that she had a match in Stardom, which is why I didn't actually know that. I didn't recognize that. She has not wrestled in AEW in about almost 2 years. I know she had a kid, and I know she was off for a while. She wasn't that good to begin with before she had the kid, so maybe just find something else to do. Be a valet. Whatever. And she used to say Latinos do it better. Yeah, I think there are some that you could find in South Texas that could probably do what she does a whole lot better. We get a pull-up. Just for what reason? For what reason? You have so many. I know Thunder Rosa apparently is dealing with a personal issue, and I wish her nothing but the best. But they have so many other women that they could use. Willow and Statlander were not on this goddamn show. Other women that are talented were not on the show. Ty Mello comes back. And I know they have history. It was Anna Jay and Ty Mello against Penelope and I think the Bunny in a street fight in Daly's place on a I think when Rampage was still going on. And it was like where everybody was bleeding like crazy. But the whole thing, really, 2025? I mean, who is asking for Ty Mello to come back? Bowens wants to face Fletcher. And mentioned something about being a 5-tool player and beating him up. Ricochet joins for commentary for this because that's what this show needed. Nick Wayne, along with Christian and Shayna Wayne, took on, well, basically they were at ringside, but Nick Wayne took on AR Fox. Lee Johnson with Blake Christian, who I believe is called Vanilla Baby, if I remember right, against Sammy Guevara. So great. His stupid wife's back, and now Ty may just want to, Ty probably should have just stayed at home for a while and continued to be a housewife, and Sammy should go home and be a housewife, because they are not really beneficial to this company anymore. I'm sorry, Tony Khan's paying people obscene amounts of money. No matter what he tries with Sammy, it's not going to work. No matter what he tries with Ty, it's not going to work. Shayna got a good reaction, as you would expect from a very, very nice, I want to say, with respect, a very nice woman. She's very nice. Talked to her at a couple indie shows. No way she remembers me. No way Nick remembers me. It's been a number of years. And I love Nick. What a talent. And I was happy he got the win here. Everybody just did stuff and continued to continue to just do their flips and doodahs and everything and some impactful moves. And I do like how Nick has a new finisher with the Fisherman Buster. That's cool. And that's fine. So now to complete this goddamn review, let's talk about Tekla, or Thekla. Tekla, I think is how you say it, against Lady Frost. Tekla is very flexible. Lady Frost is very athletic, and both ladies have something. Lady Frost has improved quite a bit. Tekla really does have something as far as the spider walk and everything. Very, very, adept at submissions. One with a nice submission. Lady Frost didn't really get to do a lot, but the whole point was to feed to the toxic spider, which is not a euphemism. And then a post-match attack, and then suddenly Queen Aminata, I guess, was told, hey, we don't care if you're... I don't know what kind of outfit that was. I don't know if she was getting ready to go dancing, because it was just like, it was odd. I mean, whatever. I mean, Queen Aminata, very statuesque, very tall. Okay, you want to have somebody that Tekla's going to have to work with a little bit? There you go. It's sudden, but it is what it is. So Khan announces what's going to happen. Queen Aminata cuts a promo talking about people coming in and, the flavor of the month or whatever it is, and there you go. And then the Paragon, Daniel Garcia, took on Lance Archer, Josh Alexander, Rocky, and Trent. And they pinned Rocky, and please just give Fletcher the goddamn TNT Championship. Adam Cole, bless him, is still trying to do this. It worries me every time I see him in the ring. That's it. That's it for Collision. That's it for Collision. I almost should have split these up, but I just decided to just do a block show because why not? That's 4 hours of wrestling covered in a very short time. So, agree, disagree, what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter, Letterboxd, Blue Sky handles in the description. I'm John Retland, and until we meet again, happy trails to you.